That does not surprise me, any more than you hearing my thoughts when we were apart. The pain, however, was unexpected. If I could, I would have shielded you from it, and I fear that had the pain been more intense, the consequences would have been more extreme, and I fear it works both ways. I would not wish to test it, nor should you. It seems that at times of stress and pain, if they catch us unawares, then the pain is transmitted between us. When battle is upon us, I suspect our minds are prepared enough to shield each other from the pain. I think we shall not have a repeat incident of what happened at Paragus. Our link may have had other consequences. Perhaps you can hear the Force again, distantly, through me. I confess its nature eludes me as well, but the bond is strong, and its roots run deep. It seems the Force flows easily between us. When one of us manipulates the Force to heal or strengthen ourselves, the other is aided as well. A powerful technique indeed, though, as we have noticed, it has its drawbacks.
Force bonds? Yes. It is the bond that grows between master and student. Are you saying you are bonded with another? Such bonds normally grant strength to both, but not to such a degree. You are deluded to think it would be lethal. Still, your ability to form such connections to influence others was always a subject of discussion, even when you were a student here. Perhaps it is a punishment of a sort. But a bond that ties two lives together, such bonds do not seem natural to me. And with your loss of connection to the Force, it seems such a bond would be impossible. Force bonds? Yes. It is the bond that grows between master and student. Are you saying you are bonded with another? Such bonds normally grant strength to both, but not to such a degree. Are you certain? Perhaps it is merely what you believe. Still, your ability to form such connections, to influence others, was always a subject of discussion, even when you were a student here. Perhaps it is a punishment of a sort. But a bond that ties two lives together, such bonds do not seem natural to me. And with your loss of connection to the Force, it seems such a connection would be impossible. Perhaps it is Dantooine, but I do not feel such from you. I feel nothing but what I felt in the Council Judgment Chamber on Coruscant so long ago. Still, you and your connections were often a subject of debate in the Council. It is possible that returning to known space, journeying with others, has caused the Force to stir within you again.
That sounds like the bond that often forms between master and apprentice. But to that degree? You always did form connections to others, strong ones, even when you were a student. But what you are describing is beyond me. I'm sure others in the Jedi Council would be able to assist you, if you could find them. You always had deep connections to the Force. I'm glad to see that it is once again your ally. When I first sparred with you during your training as a Padawan, I could tell that you were different. And it wasn't just your strong connection to the Force. That sounds like the bond that often forms between master and apprentice. But to that degree, you always did form connections to others, strong ones, even when you were a student. But what you are describing is beyond me. You always had deep connections to the Force, but such connections can corrupt one's spirit, as has happened with you. When I first sparred with you during your training as a Padawan, I could tell that you were different, but I did not expect you to fall so far.
That is most unusual and unnatural. I have never heard of a bond of such strength. Yes, such bonds are a connection that can be formed at moments of crisis, or in the slow understanding that grows between master and apprentice. It is most common between two beings who are sensitive to the Force. It allows the transmission of feelings, of influence. It was something you were gifted with, as I recall, before your fall. You formed such attachments easier than most, even to those who could feel the Force only faintly. Even Vrook could not ignore it, which is saying something. There were a few within the Order who knew more than I did of such bonds, but their students were few, lost in the Mandalorian Wars. It was rumored that Revan studied such bonding deeply, both through the Jedi histories and with certain teachers, before he left the Order and went to war. A bond between two living beings is not something easily broken. It is not a choice. It is like breaking a feeling, like turning away from the Force. To break a bond, your feelings would have to change, or one of you would have to die. But even then, the bond wouldn't go away. It would simply be empty, a wound.
No. I thought I had heard mention of such connections in some of the holocrons, but I do not possess them. They are part of the holocrons that were taken from the Enclave. I do not know who has taken them. If we were to find them, perhaps I could help you find the answers you need. I know some of what you speak. It is said that when a Jedi and Padawan establish a close connection, that they can feel each other across distances and coordinate their movements in battle. The intensity of the connection varies. That bonding is said to also be something that manifests itself in such techniques as Bastila's battle meditation, the ability to touch the minds of others, to demoralize or inspire them. It is also said that moments of death or near death may also cause such bonds. The stronger one is in the Force, the stronger the connection. Thoughts, images perhaps, but not actual communication and words. A bond often causes a sensation to be passed along it, such as extreme fear and pain. Still, I have seen Jedi who have the ability to communicate with aliens and beasts. It is a rare thing. Perhaps telepathy is one such talent. I've never heard of a bond being lethal. I suppose such a thing is possible. I had not truly believed Bastila's battle meditation until I had seen it in action.
Maybe you'll believe this, that when fighting a Jedi, you wound the Padawan first, then let the rest take care of itself. Not only will the Master move to protect the student, but the forced bond between the two will mess up the Master's head better than any stab wound.
It is not an easy thing to explain. Surely you are familiar with force bonds. It is the bond that develops between apprentice and master when one truly understands another. It is developed over time through understanding of each other. Yet you do it so easily, and we do not know why.
You make connections through the Force, and it resonates with those who travel with you. The resonance is even greater when they, too, are Force-sensitive.
Your actions affect others more than you know. You draw others to you, especially those strong in the Force.
When you suffer, their spirit echoes it, and when they are in pain, their pain becomes yours.
Yes, he is correct. You form such bonds easily. The why of it is not important now. All that is important is that you understand that your actions affect others strongly. Anyone can do such things, since life is connected by the Force. Sometimes the connections are faint, but in your case, they are very strong. You instinctively know how to manipulate such connections, to influence others. You have seen it mirrored in those who travel with you. You give others strength to act, but it is also possible to draw upon the strength of others to increase your own. It is similar to drawing upon the Force as Jedi do, but when it is touched by the power of the dark side, it is something else, something deadly. There. Do you feel that, Exile? It cuts through your defenses, as unprepared for such an attack as you are. Let that pain be a lesson and a reminder of what you have forgotten.